So as we all know, the Boston Celtics have traded away Malcolm Brogdon, Rob Williams, and some picks, also they could get Jrue Holiday in return. I said to myself a couple days ago that if the Celtics landed Jrue in a trade, then they would be a very scary team in the East, and ta-da, look what has happened. Sure, we can talk about what the Celtics gave up, but it's time to focus on the now, and when you land a player like Jrue Holiday, and not to mention they also have Porzingis as well, this Boston Celtics team can do something very special. They now have a three-headed snake in Jrue Holiday, Jaylen Brown, and Jayson Tatum, and I mean, hey, if you want to just call it a big four, then we could throw Porzingis in the mix as well. Today we're going to cover why Jrue is such a good addition, along with covering Tatum and Brown, and occasionally we'll throw in some points surrounding Porzingis too. But what immediately caught my eye in the last couple of days is how much media coverage Jrue has been getting, because in my eyes, he's one of the most underrated players in the league and should have been and had much more eyes on him earlier. Now let me ask you this. How would you like a player who puts up 20 points a night, 5 rebounds, and 7 assists, all while shooting 48% from the field and 38% from deep? Yeah, I know, super underrated, and a very valuable piece to this team. Another little bonus to throw in there is that Jrue had a plus-minus rating of 7.2, just showcasing how much his presence on the floor means. Every time last year when Giannis went down or was just out of the lineup for any reason at all, it's like Holiday would just take it up to another level. To really show you his elevation, for all the times Giannis hasn't played or Jrue was out there leading the offense himself, Holiday averaged 22 points, 9 assists, and 5 rebounds, while knocking down 50% of his shots from the field and 41% from deep. So if you line that up with his regular season averages, Holiday is performing in every category, which is a very good thing to see. Having this type of player can give you some sense of security, knowing that either if Brown or Tatum have a bad game or they just happen to be out that night, Jrue can step up to the plate and make sure to keep things afloat. Now look, I can't lie, at first I was thinking things looked a little shaky for the Celtics, as I thought Malcolm Brogdon would be their leading point guard going into next season, or hey, maybe even Derek White. But me personally, I don't think that would have got them out the East, as they would have ran into some problems down the road. To really compete in the playoffs or just competitive games in general, you usually want a point guard who is fairly good, and that isn't me saying White or Brogdon are trash, because that's not true. But let's be honest, they're no Jrue Holiday. It probably didn't seem like Jrue was some offensive savant or anything, but secretly, he was very efficient when it came to scoring the ball. In the restricted area, Holiday converted 68% of his 255 attempts, knocked down 45% of his shots from the mid-range, and with most of his threes coming from above the break, Jrue drained 30% of his 385 attempts from this area. This added in scoring will help Jayson and Jaylen not only have to carry so much of the load offensively, but now teams have to allocate attention to all 3 guys instead of just 2. I mean, actually, the attention will probably be spread out even more because they have Porzingis as a scoring threat also. Can you not see already that this team is starting to look really good? Now, while Jrue is more than a capable scorer, it's his playmaking that allows him to score and affect the game so well. Holiday might not be super flashy, but he's very smooth with his handle, which shifts defenders out the way and opens up looks at the rim for not only himself, but also opportunities to dime up the open man. It's quite funny to me because some people will overlook Jrue on the offensive side when this is somewhere where he can contribute in a big way, but let's say you do take him for granted offensively, well, you definitely can't dismiss his high-level defensive abilities. At the point of attack, Holiday is good at pressuring ball handlers just by getting into their space, making it uncomfortable, and when trying to get a good look at the rim, they are usually met with a heavy contest from Holiday. On average, opponents shoot 48%, but when guarded by Holiday, that percentage drops a little over 2% to 45%, and when looking at Holiday's defensive rating, it sits at 107.9, which will help this Boston out team a ton. We've seen Tatum and Brown improve on the defensive side of the ball, and just last year, they both had the 2 lowest defensive ratings on the team. So already you can see that the dynamic duo of Brown and Tatum could hold it down themselves, but now with Holiday as well, it makes scoring on them 10 times harder. Now I won't sit up here and say that Holiday has the most groundbreaking numbers, but when you take the stats and then also pair it with the eye test, well, this is when you really see how solid Holiday really is. Having a solid point guard who can attribute on both ends is someone any team would want to have, and it makes it even more scarier when you pair him next to 2 other stars in the league. Some might have their gripes and be mad about losing Rob Williams or about trading Marcus Smart earlier in the offseason, but hey, what's done is done. Another thing that a lot of people around the league had harps about is the major contract Jaylen Brown received. But if you take a second to look around and see the contract they have been given to other players, you'll then quickly realize that JB is more than worthy of the extension. When your second option is coming off an all-NBA season, can play both sides of the ball, and all around is one of the best wings in the league, it's only right you do what you can to keep him on your squad alongside Jayson Tatum. I know people want to talk about his lack of dribbling skills with his left hand and whatnot, but let's all be serious. On any given night, Jaylen can go out there and give any opposing team 30, so how much of a problem is it really? Now don't get me wrong, I'm not saying he shouldn't go work on it or anything, but I think it's more of a long-lasting joke that people want to make rather than it being a very huge issue. Coming off a season averaging 26 points, 7 rebounds and 3 assists, with shooting splits of 49% from the field and 33% from deep, Jaylen is a huge contributing factor to as why this team has had many postseason deep runs and also a finals appearance. Sure, this last playoff run wasn't the best for Brown, but a lot of the time when things do get dry or stagnant in the offense for the Celtics, Jaylen will be that spark to get things going. With the main part of his game being his fierce driving skills, it puts a lot of pressure on the defense, making them collapse, and this helps Tatum out a lot by being able to get him open shots, but now with Porzingis on the squad, it'll open up looks for him out on that perimeter as well. But wait 1 second. Notice how I said Porzingis will be out on that perimeter? Well, since he is more than a capable shooter from deep, his man will be forced to step out the paint to guard him, so what exactly does that mean? It means Jaylen Brown will have an even easier time soaring in to go score in close. Only being 26 years old, Brown has a great set of skills already that he can build on going forward, so I'm not exactly sure why people consistently say break him and Tatum up, as they can accomplish great things together if you just give them some time. Just as Jaylen is only 26, Tatum is only 25 years old, so both of these guys are really just getting into the stride of their prime. It's already scary when your second option is putting up 26 points a night, but it's even more scarier when your first and younger option is pouring in 30 a game on splits of 46% shooting from the field and 35% from deep. So far in his career, Tatum has gotten a lot of hate simply because he hasn't won a ring yet, and I kinda get where people are coming from, but there's plenty of stars around the league who didn't accomplish what Tatum has so far in his career, so I think people should chill out on him just a little bit. I mean, let's be honest, we've seen year after year Tatum improve on multiple aspects of his game, and going into this next season with Marcus Smart gone, I expect Tatum to make a major leap in that leadership department. I think that's one area in his game he can improve in, as this team relies on him to take them to the promised land, and they're only as good as their leader. If you sit and think about it, Tatum has pretty much been the focal point of this team since he came into the league at 19 years old, so it can tend to take some time to adjust to the pace and skill of the NBA, but as we all see, Tatum is perfecting his craft and becoming a top player in the league. If you were to ask me, I personally see Tatum as a top 10 player, and I would hope most of you would agree with that. He's 6'8" with a sturdy 210-pound frame, so when driving to the basket, defenders can't really knock him off balance as he can finish strong right through them. If he has to opt into the shot, well, Tatum has a good enough handle to tie together a combo to create space for himself, and with his length, he can rise up over the top of defenders to knock it down. I see so much potential left in Jayson Tatum still, as he's the first Celtic in history to average 30 or more points in a season, just came off his third All-NBA season, and like I said earlier, each year he adds something new to his game, whether it be offensively or defensively or both. When you pair all of this with his partner in crime Jaylen Brown, it makes the Celtics an amazing team, and we've obviously all seen this in the past years. The talks of breaking them up is far from what actually needs to happen, because when you have two guys this young and talented, it may take some time for them to figure things out fully, but trust me, once they do, it becomes a nightmare to face them on any given night. So this Boston Celtics team can really do great things, as they have added in Porzingis and also Jrue Holiday. I think this takes them up another notch defensively and on the offensive side, and really makes them a scary threat in the Eastern Conference. Let me know below how you guys feel about this Boston Celtics team, how Jrue will affect the team, how Porzingis will affect the team, and how the team will just do in general. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to drop a like before heading over to watch this Luka and Kyrie analysis. I thank you all for your support, and I'll see you in the next video.